Benson, what is she doing here?
Susan, stand up. Turn around. Now this is a woman.
Why are you doing this to me?
Because I'm tired, Helen. Tired of waking up every day and asking myself how I ended up with someone like you. Look at yourself. No shape, no presence, nothing.
So you brought her here to humiliate me?
No. I brought her so you'll finally understand why I regret marrying you.
You regret me?
Every single day. Go inside. Pack your things.
You want me to leave?
Yes. I don't want you in this house anymore.
This house?
Don't start that, Helen.
You're sure?
Just go and pack your things and leave my house.
She didn't even fight you.
She never does.
In the beginning, Benson didn't see her body. He saw her. He used to call her beautiful, even on the days she didn't feel like it. And Helen believed him. She believed him so much that she never noticed the day his words started changing. At first it was small, almost harmless. Maybe you should try going to the gym. She laughed it off. She thought he was joking. But Benson wasn't joking. Soon it became...
You don't even try anymore.
Then...
Look at other women, at least learn something.
And just like that, the man who once made her feel seen started making her feel invisible. Helen didn't fight him. She tried to fix it. She changed her clothes, she changed how she ate. She stood in front of the mirror longer than she used to, hoping one day he would look at her the way he used to. But Benson had already stopped looking. And somewhere between trying to become enough for him, Helen slowly disappeared. But what Benson didn't know was this. While he was busy measuring her worth by her body, Helen was quietly building a life he never bothered to understand. And one day, that silence he enjoyed so much would become the reason he lost everything. At first, Helen told herself it was just a phase. Men get stressed, work gets hard, people change. That's what she believed until the day she realized it wasn't stress. It was how he saw her now. One evening, she stood in front of the mirror again, not admiring herself, not even checking her outfit, just staring, trying to see what Benson saw. She turned sideways, pulled her dress tighter around her waist, adjusted it, stepped back. Nothing changed. From the doorway, Benson watched her, quietly. Then he chuckled.
Trying to force what isn't there won't help.
Helen didn't turn. She just stood there, absorbing every word. That night, she cried in the bathroom, silently, so he wouldn't hear. But the next morning, she woke up early, cooked his favorite meal, dressed carefully, smiled when he walked out, because somehow she still believed she could fix it. But Benson had already moved on in his mind. It started with his phone. He used to leave it around carelessly. Now, it was always with him, face down, screen locked. And when it buzzed, he smiled, not at her, at someone else. Helen noticed. Of course she did, but she didn't ask questions, because deep down, she already knew the answers. Days turned into weeks. The distance between them grew. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like two people living in the same house, but no longer living the same life. Then one afternoon, Helen stepped out, not to visit a friend, not to clear her head, but to handle something important. She entered a clean, well-stocked and busy supermarket. One of the staff rushed toward her, respectfully.
Good afternoon, Ma.
Is everything fine?
Yes, Ma. We just need your approval on the new supplier.
She listened, asked a few questions, gave instructions calmly. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud. Just control. the kind of control Benson had never seen. Before leaving, she paused, looked around the store. This was hers. Not given, not borrowed, built quietly, the same way she had built everything else in her life, including the home Benson was so proud of. But when she returned that evening, none of that showed on her face. She walked in, dropped her bag, walked into the kitchen, and met Benson already seated, scrolling his phone.
Food is in the kitchen,
She said softly. He didn't respond. She stood there for a second, waiting. Then his phone buzzed. He smiled again. That same smile, the one she hadn't seen directed at her in months. And in that moment, Helen stopped waiting. Not for his attention, not for his approval, not for anything. But she didn't confront him. She didn't fight. She simply watched. And while Benson was busy drifting further away, Helen was quietly stepping into a version of herself he would soon realize he never truly knew. Then one day, he didn't come home alone, and everything changed. It didn't happen suddenly. Benson didn't just wake up one day and bring another woman home. He eased into it. At first, it was just calls, late at night, short conversations, low voices. Helen would be lying beside him, eyes closed, listening. Not to the words, but to the tone. That soft tone he hadn't used with her in a long time. Then came the messages. He smiled more at his phone than he ever smiled at her. And one night, Helen heard a name, Susan. It slipped out casually, but it stayed with her. Susan. She didn't ask who she was. She didn't need to, because the next week she saw her. They were at a small gathering. Nothing fancy, just a few people. Helen stood beside Benson, quiet and observant. Then the room shifted. People turned. Whispers followed. And that was when Susan walked in, confident and curvy, dressed in a way that didn't ask for attention but got it anyway. Benson straightened immediately. Helen noticed not just the way he looked at Susan, but the way he stopped seeing everyone else, including her. Susan walked up to them, smiling. Too familiar, too comfortable. Benson smiled back. Helen stood there, still, invisible. "Oh, this is Helen," Benson said quickly, like it was an afterthought. Susan turned to her, looked her up and down. Not rude, but not respectful either. "Nice to meet you," she said. Helen forced a small smile. "You too." But something in her chest shifted. Because in that moment, she understood. This wasn't new. This wasn't accidental. This had been happening, and she was just catching up. That night, they returned home in silence. Helen walked ahead, Benson behind her, typing. When they got inside, she turned.
Who is she?
Benson didn't even hesitate.
A friend.
Just a friend?
Don't start, Helen.
And just like that, the conversation ended. But the distance between them grew louder. After that, Susan stopped being a name. She became a presence. Calls became longer, laughter became louder. And one evening, Benson didn't even hide it anymore. He stepped outside to take a call. Helen stood by the window, watching, listening. "I miss you too," Benson said, softly. Helen's fingers tightened against the curtain, not in anger, but in realization. This was no longer something she could ignore. But still, she didn't confront him. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. Not in front of him. Because something inside her had changed. Not her love, but her expectations. She no longer expected him to choose her. And that was the beginning of the end. Days later, Benson walked into the house with a different energy. Relaxed, bold, like someone who had made a decision. Helen noticed it immediately, but she said nothing. Because by now, she understood something Benson didn't. People don't suddenly become disrespectful. They become comfortable enough to show what was always there. And Benson was now very comfortable. Too comfortable. So comfortable that bringing Susan into their home no longer felt like a line he shouldn't cross. It felt normal. And that was how everything finally broke.
And just like that, the line was crossed. The house that was once quiet became the place where Helen was humiliated the most. Benson didn't hide it anymore. Susan didn't pretend. And Helen stopped expecting anything. So when he finally brought Susan into that house, sat her on his lap and asked her to leave, it didn't shock Helen. It confirmed something she had already accepted. Back in the bedroom, Helen zipped her bag slowly. No anger, no shouting, just a quiet kind of finality. Her phone buzzed again. "Madam, we're still waiting for your confirmation." She picked it up this time, looked at it for a few seconds, then typed, "Hold on, I'll handle it now." She stood up, lifted her bag and walked out. Benson was laughing, Susan beside him, comfortable. He looked up as Helen stepped in, saw the bag and smirked.
Good. At least you know when to leave.
Helen didn't respond immediately. She dropped the bag gently by the door, then turned to him. "Come, you want me to leave," she said. "Exactly," Benson replied. Helen nodded once. "Okay." A pause, then, "You should come with me." Benson frowned. "For what?" Helen held his gaze. "Just come." Susan shifted slightly. "This is unnecessary," she started. Helen didn't even look at her. "Benson," she said quietly, "come." Something in her tone, not loud, not emotional, but firm. It made him hesitate. Then, annoyed, he stood. "Let's get this over with," he muttered. They stepped outside. A man stood by the gate, well-dressed, holding a file. He looked up immediately, relieved. "Ah, madame," he said, "I've been trying to reach you." Benson stopped. His eyes shifted from the man to Helen, confused. Helen stepped forward. "Yes, I saw your message." The man nodded. "It's about the tenant. He's asking for more time, and also, the rent here," he paused, glanced at Benson briefly, "is overdue." Silence. Benson frowned. "What are you talking about?" he said. The man looked confused now. "Sir, this property..." Helen raised her hand slightly. "It's fine," she said calmly. Then she turned to Benson, and for the first time, she didn't look hurt. She looked clear. "This is Mr. Adeyemi," she said. "He manages my properties." The words didn't land immediately. Benson blinked. "Your what?" Helen didn't rush. "The supermarket in Lekki, the one in Surulere, the apartment in Yaba." She held his gaze. "And this house, a bit. I own it." Silence crashed. Susan straightened. Benson laughed, short, uncertain. What kind of joke is this? Mr. Adeyemi opened the file, pulled out documents. "Sir, your rent records are here," he said. "All payments have been made under Madam's account." Benson's file faded. "Wait, no, that's not..." He turned to Helen. "You've been paying the rent?" Helen shook her head slowly. "No." A pause. "You've been paying me." That broke him, not loudly, but completely. His face changed. Confusion, realization, then something heavier. Susan took a small step back. "Benson, you didn't tell me..." He didn't respond, because now, everything he had said inside that house came rushing back. "Leave my house," the words echoed, but they didn't belong to him. Benson looked around, at the gate, at the house, at Helen, like he was seeing everything for the first time. You knew?" he asked. Helen didn't answer that. Instead, she said, "You were ashamed of me." Her voice was calm, but heavy. "You compared me, mocked me, humiliated me, all because of what you could see, a step closer. But you never once tried to understand what you couldn't." Benson's eyes dropped. For the first time, he had nothing to say. Susan exhaled sharply. "This is messy," she said. "I'm not part of this." And just like that, she walked away. No loyalty, no hesitation, just gone. Benson didn't stop her. He couldn't, because the only person he needed to face was still standing in front of him, and she was no longer the woman he thought she was. Helen picked up her bag, not because she had to leave, but because she had already outgrown that space. She looked at him one last time. "You didn't lose me today," she said quietly. "You lost me the moment you decided I wasn't enough." And now, she glanced at the house, then back at him. "You can stay." Benson looked up quickly, hope flashing. Then she added, "But not as the man of this house. You're just a tenant now." That was the final blow. Helen turned, walked away. No noise, no drama, just dignity. And Benson stood there in a house he thought he owned, realizing too late he was only ever living in a life built by the woman he couldn't see.
Thank you for watching. If this story touched you in any way, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to African Stories That Touch, where every story has a lesson.